We all agree with that? 84% do.
Yes.
81% believe the power of ordinary people to control our country is getting weaker every day as politicians of both parties fight to protect their own power and privilege. 80% believe the federal government is its own special interest, primarily looking out for itself. 79% of voters believe we need to recruit and support more candidates for office at all levels of government who are just ordinary citizens rather than professional politicians or lawyers. 78% believe the Democratic and Republican parties are essentially useless in changing anything because both political parties are too beholden to special interests to create any meaningful change. 76% of all Americans agree with the statement that America cannot succeed unless we take on and defeat the corruption and crony capitalism that is happening in our government. 75% of all Americans believe the U.S. government is not working for the people's best interest. 75% of the people believe that powerful interests have used campaign and lobbying money to rig the system for themselves. So far, I agree with absolutely every one of these. Do you?
The only one I disagree with was the one where you said both parties can't get anything done because they only care about their own interests. The Democrats get a lot of stuff done. They get stuff done all the time. They've moved the country significantly to the left, and they've been successful over a long period of time.
But it's all moving towards their interest, not the interest of the people.
I suppose. I mean, but their interest their interest is to make the government bigger. I think that's against the interests of the people, but that's the only one I would even quibble with.
74% see the biased and slanted news coverage of the media as part of the problem. 72% of Americans believe the U.S. has a two-track economy where most Americans struggle every day, where good jobs are hard to find, and where huge corporations get all the rewards. 72% believe that the reason families in our middle class have not seen their economic condition improve for decades and economic growth is stalled because corruption and crony capitalism in Washington. 71% believe our government is not only dysfunctional, it is collapsing before our eyes. 70% of people believe government in Washington does not govern with the consent of the people. The majority, 56%, say they wish there was a third party with a chance of success to fight for their interest. And only 15% say the values and principles of my political party are so important that I strongly prefer to vote for the candidates of my party. If that's not a revolution waiting to happen, nothing is. That's why, quite honestly, if America picks Chris Christie, Marco Rubio, Jeb Bush, John Kasich, or Hillary Clinton, we are setting ourselves up, I believe, for more revolution and revolutionary discontent in 4 years from now. Because things are going to get so bad that we need somebody who is going to be dynamic in their change. Now, you get somebody like Donald Trump or Bernie Sanders, I believe that's going to be even worse. Because they are going to move the country, but they're going to move the country in a way I believe that Americans don't really fully understand at this point. They're looking for change. Because of these things, they're looking for dramatic change, but they are not, neither of them are pegged to the Constitution. Rand Paul was pegged to the Constitution. Cruz is pegged to the Constitution. And there was an interesting thing that I heard Ted Cruz talk about, where Ted was speaking about how he had respect for Bernie Sanders. Now, he's the first guy that I have heard say this. Listen carefully.
You know, actually, when it comes to diagnosing the problem, many folks in the press are often surprised when I say, in large part, I agree with Bernie Sanders. I agree with Bernie Sanders that the fix is in, that Washington is corrupt, that it is responding to the giant corporations and the special interests, and the people getting the short end of the stick are the working men and women of this country.
Listen to applause. I agree with Bernie Sanders.
Now, where I disagree with Bernie is on the solution. If government is corrupt, Bernie's solution is we need more government. I think that's getting it backwards. So I think when it comes to income inequality, Republicans ought to be campaigning on it. What I am campaigning for is all the people trapped away from getting the economic dream. We can get back to the robust economic growth that enables anybody starting with nothing to achieve anything. I think that's the core of our message and how we win.
Getting back to the principles of the Constitution. But the problem is that most people are not talking about the Constitution. Most people don't even understand what the Constitution. I Googled the Bill of Rights this morning, and I thought, how low on the Google list is Bill of Rights compared to what is socialism? How many people are actually comparing, wait a minute, what is socialism, what does the Bill of Rights say? Nobody's paying attention to the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights and the Constitution are the things that have always brought us together. On the other hand, you see Bernie Sanders with his righteous indignation, but nobody's listening to his solution. They don't know what socialism is. That's a proven fact now. Nobody knows what socialism really means.